Mark, round 3, 4?
This is the point,
Round
bro.
4, but the 5th round we've had football.
Was it round 4?
Who knows? No, that was round 3.
Round 3, yeah.
That was round 3.
It was the 4th round 3. Fuck you, AFL.
Yep.
I'm Finn.
I'm Dan.
And I'm still Chad.
And I'm very confused. I should have just gone with that without the name. Might clip that.
If you can find the clip.
I am the clip commander.
Game. Game on. What you got?
I'm going to talk about my favourite topic.
Umpires, Ken Hinkley.
Yeah, there it
you
is.
go. St Kilda, that was guess number 3.
Yeah, no. Fucking St Kilda. Way to ruin my only prediction I thought I would actually get right for the season. Fucking hell. Especially I started that game so poorly. I was like, oh, the Tigers have got him here. Tigers are going to do this. Tigers are going to end them. And, well, I was wrong.
You were wrong.
They stuck fat for about a half, and then all of a sudden, St Kilda just kept piling them on. It was a convincing
Since
victory.
when can they kick goals?
There's a lot of questions around AFL teams at the moment. Like,
yeah, consistency's lacking. We've only got 3 teams that are undefeated at the moment.
4. But one of them's only played 2 games.
Yeah.
The Gold Coast.
So,
well, they got beaten by a cyclone technically, so that's a lot.
That's a defeat.
yeah,
Ken Hinkley.
Yeah. So how do you lose to Essendon?
Well,
the same way they lost their first game to a shit team as well. So
by playing the ball backwards.
Yeah. Their window has been slammed shut.
Oh,
there's no coach being saved by playing group anymore. That is, gone, and they need to start a rebuild now.
Well, there's not many windows left in Port Adelaide either, but if there is, it's start.
I dare say no TVs. They're definitely not scarves. They all
they all went straight in the bin. Yeah.
But I reckon they got to sack the next coach too. To get them both gone at the same time.
Well, I mean, it would make sense, right? You can't really hand it over to him when he's involved in. Although we did talk about how ultimately it's Ken Hinkley's game plan, but
I don't.
He's involved in the implementation.
Yeah,
of it.
look, because you're just rolling over the same thing.
Yeah,
it's they're essentially just. It's a pseudo Ken Hinkley contract.
Pretty much.
He made a prelim.
Yeah.
So they went out in a prelim, didn't they? Or the straight sets last year.
I think it was straight sets last year. I think. Yeah.
So it's the same old fucking
garb.
Yeah. But by keeping Carr, they just put Carr in front of the horse. I reckon they got to bid them both.
I agree.
They got to clean out everything at that club because they got good talent, but not enough to.
You'd be fucking spewing if you were Jason Horn, for instance.
Would you put?
Now.
Yeah. Would you put horse in front of car in terms of would you go after horse?
100%. Fucking
more horsepower.
No brainer.
Horsepower. That's a good one.
Horsepower.
Marketing. Port Adelaide marketing. Call me. That's off. That's good.
Intellectual property. FYI.
Yeah.
Throw the mark.
No more never tear us apart. More power.
Let's do that on a shirt.
Yeah.
Told you.
We'll just have a big horse with a big cart under it.
Very good.
And he's dragging it along.
I think you just lost your marketing contract with Port Adelaide.
Yeah, it's probably pretty funny if it was like horse, but it's like a horse with Longmire's head on it, and then like a cart with Josh Carr's face as the wheels, and he's like pulling it along.
That would be pretty funny.
Or Josh Carr on the hood of the car and a painting, and then Maynard's driving it into a wall.
Oh, God.
What a visual for the newspaper.
Yeah.
Anyway, my point being, they need to bid them both, and horse is 100% what they should be doing. He said he was having a year off. We didn't know what he was doing after that.
Well, they've got Simo. Like he's quite getting a bit of attention too. And
I don't think you'll see him coach again.
I do. 100%.
He's too good to be lost. Yeah.
Way too good. He got fucked over by list management, not from fucking anything else. And time away from the game is usually what improves coaches.
Yeah, fair.
It's like when you get someone, he'll coach you.
Do you reckon he would coach at Port Adelaide?
No, I reckon he'll just wait until Clarko's done and go back to
North. Yeah.
He's probably had that discussion with Clark. I'll be coming after you. What do? You go to your team, don't you?
It would make sense, wouldn't it?
It's him and Pav should not be commentating games
Mate.
while we're on the top.
Pavlich has gotten a bit bitter with Fremantle. He's quite narky whenever he
What are
comes.
you talking about? All he did was talking about how fucking good
elite.
they are.
I've never heard anyone say the word elite so many times during a broadcast.
Not in the Freo game, no.
No, absolutely not, mate. I cannot fucking stand the man. I can't stand the man. Sorry, nothing personal. I don't know the man, but I cannot stand watching him on TV like throughout the week.
Yeah, I'd say he's probably a really good bloke.
Probably, yeah.
Great footy player.
Probably
one of the best. No,
You
South
can't-
Aussie prodigy.
You can't like drag Freo along for 15 years and not be a pretty good person.
Hey,
in
that's
the end.
that's true. Yeah, I'm sure he probably is a very good bloke, but fucking watching him actually just pains me. Like the auto cue, I feel like he's probably.
I think he's been doing WA games long enough now that you'd think he'd have it right.
And just be off the cuff and be able to just talk.
Simo's doing his second West Coast game commentary, and it's like you can tell the guys trying not to do it, but they're all his boys. Like,
Yeah.
Oh, Simo's very natural, but his comments were good. Like
he's great.
yeah.
You can tell he'd be good at commentary, but like he just lent way too much into like you can't defend your guys here. Like, I know you're there, you guys, and you probably got a lot of faith in what Minnie wants to do, and because you know what everyone's capable of.
There's a couple of times he slipped up and he's gone, and we just need to. And then they've corrected him. He's like, "Oh, yep, sorry, I'll get it out.
No, it's very cute.
Yeah.
It's, but his love.
Well, 10 years of it, man. Like it would be hard.
Yeah, 100%. But anyway, back to Port Adelaide.
Yes.
Jason Horne-Francis spewing.
Yep.
Because if he was still at North, they would be fucking bullshit good right now.
They'd be flying. I mean, they're
just
looking pretty good anyway.
Yeah, but he's just like that extra inside mid contested ball winner they probably need to be like. Because they got the ruckman, they got all the outside players they need.
He's
Forward
a good,
line's
connector.
shaping up nicely.
Forward line's looking very good, very good.
Sure is. And Horne-Francis would be a great connector between midfield and forwards.
Oh,
too,
for sure. But they there's like Port's bringing in Rioli, waste of time. He was past it. He's 2 years just the game left him behind. Boak needs.
I mean, he's done a few sort of good things here and there, but he's nowhere near the player he was.
He doesn't have the youth hunger that he did, and it disappears when you spend 2 years out of the game. Like, it's very hard to recover.
He can't be the vocal point, but if he had a stronger list with him, he could be a good.
Yeah, well, they've got
player.
no key forwards, but I think half of his success was because there was two brother boys running amok together. Like,
oh, him and what was it?
Liam Ryan.
Yeah, they were incredible
just
together.
Like I think, and that's like, and Liam Ryan, you can tell he's trying to instigate that with younger fellas his side. But who's Rioli got that he's really got that synergy with Port?
Yeah, it was like with Betts and Cameron. They worked well off each other.
Oh, they were
yeah.
fucking awesome as well. That's the exact same scenario, like because they got a connection beyond what teammates.
Yeah.
He doesn't have that there. They got no key forward. Georgiades is shit. He's always been shit.
I mean, Lukosius obviously going down quickly. He's out for a while.
Yeah, like he's just.
How long's he out for?
Oh, substantial, maybe 5 or 6, I think. Was a PCL injury, I think, to his knee.
Oh, rough. What game was that?
Round 2 or 3, whatever I don't even know what round it is. It was sometime during this year.
Okay. Yeah. Cool.
Their second game.
Yeah, right. That's rough.
Yeah,
I missed that. I must have slipped through that.
It was like it was really early in the first quarter. It was really innocuous. You wouldn't have even noticed it till he limped off the ground. So
I think
sucks for him.
I think what they've done with this succession thing is it takes away all like what are the fans? Who can they have a problem with? There's no accountability at the club because you can yell about Stinkley all you want, but he's realistically already finished. Like,
there's 1 foot out the door. Yeah.
Yeah, like so he doesn't give a shit. Like there's no account. He doesn't care if they do good. He's already fucking finished. Like the succession plan, I think I was leaning towards it being a good idea to begin with, and we've seen 2 cases this year where it's not looking too crash hot already.
It's never worked well. I mean, even when Mulhurst handed it to Buckley, there was a lot of, and then was Clarko and Mitchell. There was a lot of tension that last year before the handover, and all of a sudden it just stopped. It didn't go well.
Yeah, but Clarko and Mitchell I wouldn't count that the same way because Mitchell went and coached at a different club first.
He did.
He was away. He wasn't assistant coaching the whole time at Hawthorn and then getting it over. It was.
But it always makes that last year really, really awkward, I
Yeah.
feel. Like,
Yeah, I agree, but accountability-wise, yes. But like we're seeing, it's not looking too good at Sydney.
No.
They're not looking their best.
no,
They're-
is it?
They essentially
The
look.
Coxie crinkle.
They look exactly the same as what they did under Horse. There's no change.
It doesn't look that much different, no. And I
with
thought it
Dean
would.
Cox. So did I. I thought it would have been very different,
Mm.
and I think that's not going to pan out as well as they hope.
No.
It's not working at Port Adelaide, especially with someone like Ken Hinkley. He's just like he'll run him into the ground. He'll probably
Backwards.
I feel like he'd do that just out of spite because they didn't renew his contract like he expected them to. Like,
With Sydney, though, like, what is it? Is it like, can they not handle Cox's game plan?
well, it doesn't
The
seem any
game plan
different.
doesn't. Yeah,
That's the point. Like, it doesn't.
I don't think they look any different to
At all.
how they looked last year in when they're moving the footy. Like,
And when you got your number one stars got 1 foot out the door. Like, it's
Well, he's coming to Perth. He was put in Perth again for the Derby,
yeah,
wasn't he?
that's right. Yeah.
mm.
House shopping or looking at the new mansion he's building
Yeah.
or bought.
Well, he
Derby.
bought. Yeah. Well, he even said to the airport.
He doesn't know where he's
Yeah.
going to be, and they asked him who he's rooting for in the Derby, and he said, "I'd love to see Harley get a win."
He's
He's got a
one.
sense of humour.
He's
yeah.
one. He's one. And you look at players, you see when they're 1 foot out the door, they're not the way they should be.
Well, he's not doing his contract numbers any favours at the moment.
No, but like there's an offer on the table from both clubs. What it sounds
Mm.
of it. So it's just because is he restricted or unrestricted free agent?
I think he's restricted. He's got another year to go at.
No, this is his,
Oh, this is his last year? Yeah.
year of his
Yeah.
extension.
He's still a bit young for unrestricted.
Well, yeah. Well, how long's unrestricted though? I think it comes down to how much money it
I don't know
by
the difference
time.
at
Yeah,
all.
I don't understand it.
Well,
Still.
Sydney could still choose to match. Oh no, because he's out of contract, so that does it.
Yeah, which if
Again, I don't understand.
No, I forget how that
any of
works,
that.
yeah.
I think unrestricted out of contract they get. I don't know. You want to look that up?
I'll look it up right
yeah,
now.
let's work this out because I still don't get it. But
And I feel like we've tickled this a few times and then just parked it going,
because it's
I don't
different
understand.
for it's like different for free agency as well and shit. Like the
A restricted free agent is an out-of-contract player who has played 9 or fewer years with their current club and is in
Okay.
the top quarter of the club's salary earners.
So it can be one or the other, or it can be both. Well, it needs to be both. That
Is
sounds
an
like it's one or the
out-of-contract
other.
player who has played 9 or fewer years with their current club and is in the top quarter of
So
the
it needs to
club's
be both.
salary
Yeah.
earners, meaning their existing club can match any free agency offer made for the player.
So they can match him. Yeah.
yeah, assuming that they've been paying him in the top. Did you say 25%?
Yeah.
Which
More at the moment.
Sydney, I don't think he would be if he depending on what.
When you think about who's on the list,
That's what I mean. Like,
Papley, Brody Grundy,
But would this contract,
Isaac
yeah,
Heaney.
would this
plus
not
money.
would this year be back ended though because of his talent?
you don't know. We don't know
Yeah.
what contract he signed. Maybe he's had it in his mind not to be at
And-
that point.
Maybe.
Yeah.
An unrestricted free agent is a player who has served 8 or more years at one club, is out of contract, and can freely move to any other club without their previous club having the right to match offers or receive compensation.
So 8 more years you are unrestricted unless you are in your 9th year and the top
and
25.
in the top 25%.
So
yeah.
that's a very nuanced.
It's kind of
difference.
complex, and the two
Yeah.
cross over. Yeah.
What's what do you
No
go?
way, something nuanced in the AFL.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it makes sense. It comes down to money, doesn't it? But at
Always.
the end of the day, you also got to look at it. For the sake of this argument, he's unrestricted because is Sydney going to have the cap space that West Coast will have to? Because they got a lot of money. They got a lot of money available because they'll have a lot of money sitting there for Harley. They'll have a lot of money sitting there for Chad, and they'll probably have a lot of money left over to dish out to their younger guys who are performing well.
Yeah.
They probably paid.
Like Baker and Graham.
They'll be back
Probably
ended.
had-
They'll be back ended.
Yeah.
They won't be front ended. That'll be.
Easy be mid-range salary anyway.
Baker
Yeah.
would be high. I think Graham would be a bit less. Well,
Yeah.
where's Warner? Is he Warner? Like, is he hell bent on West Coast or is he open to
Well,
Fremantle?
he's a West Coast man.
So West Coast would be his likely destination.
Yeah, I would say so. But Freo don't have any money.
No. Luke Jackson's got it all.
Yeah,
Well,
so-
but I mean, a lot of Freo's players are now on big bucks, and as they should be. Little likes of Sarong and Jackson, and I'm sure Tracy's last contract signing was large. Sean Darcy's contract is fucking huge. Like,
Yeah.
Brayshaw would be on a decent wicket.
Sarong will be on good money.
Yeah,
with all
Sarong,
the-
Sarong, I think Sarong's last one was quite significant, and so it should be. He's easily
Absolutely.
the best player.
Well,
I'd say.
Tracy's value's increasing weekly.
Yeah, like weekly. Yeah, so they're going to be.
And Shea Bolton would have cost them some money.
A bomb.
Mm.
Yeah, and he would have cost them an actual bomb
Yeah.
because that's the only way Richmond really probably would have been okay with losing him was the bonus cap space they get as well. So and they got a lot of superstars inside.
Mm.
And that's where their money's gone. When you look at West Coast, they got McGovern.
Mm.
Everyone else took pay cuts.
Yeah. Or left or retired or whatever.
That's
Well, it
right.
was just injuries, wasn't it? So, I mean, so Water's pretty much going to choose between McWalter or Cox. That's his choice. Yeah.
Quite possibly.
He's probably going to be assessing it as which one's going to have sustained success. Now, it's a hard point. We've so derailed while I was talking about this. It's good to discuss, though, because it's a hot topic, Chad Warner. You look at it this way, Sydney have, I think, in my view, finally run out of their untapped supply of talent they had. Like,
you feel like the pool's running a bit thin.
well, I mean, it'll be a couple of years before it fills up again because they did get through. They had a lot of it come through from their academies. It's and you got to think they're both new coaches, as you said. Which one has the capacity to rise higher and stay there for longer? You look at the age demographic of the list. You look at who has draft power leading up to, prior to Tasmania coming in, because that's going to be a big hindrance as well.
Yeah.
Is where Tassie starts, and if Sydney are in the point where their window's open, they're really trying to get another one. They're not getting higher draft talent if their academy isn't as potent as it has been over the last 10 years. They might be in a position where they don't do too well as Tasmania takes off, and then they've got 3 or 4 years before they can really get high-end talent coming. So
This is true. So everything at West Coast looks like it's probably a bit more positive on that front.
yeah, but on the other side of the coin, they could be shit forever.
They could.
You know, like.
It could be a Melbourne or Brisbane dynasty where it's 20
And
years of,
according to the internet and all the media outlets, that now both Oscar Allen and Harley Reid are now going to Hawthorn because apparently they've got all these fucking draft picks,
They were both at the wedding.
players to trail. Yeah,
Yeah. Could end up being the red wedding for West Coast.
Yeah.
the wedding. I mean, at this stage, let Oscar Allen go. Couldn't give fucks.
No, he looks like he's already checked out.
Yeah, not even the third best forward at the moment.
No.
Yeah.
And Jake Waterman's there for 6 years or something.
Yeah,
So all good.
I digress. Yeah, Warner's interesting, and then you got to think what happens with his brother after that as well.
Yeah.
Does Corey go?
There's a lot of moving
My
parts
contract's finished. I'm going home too.
there.
Yeah, do the brothers want to play together?
Yeah. I mean, one's significantly better than the other, but I mean, having a utility like Corey Warner isn't a bad thing. Like,
Not at the moment, no.
because he plays his role week in, week out, and at the end of the day, that's what all winning sides are, is role players who do it correctly. So, it's an interesting thought.
It sure is. It sure is.
But-
you know what rhymes with thought? Port. Did you have anything else you wanted to
No,
say?
that ship sailed now. I just
Yep.
wanted to point out that Carr's a bad idea, and
Yeah,
they probably
fair.
should move him on too. Not that he's a bad coach. He'd probably be
But the idea of the
he'll be a
succession
good
plan
coach.
is a
I
bad
just don't
idea.
see it working. He's just been under Ken for so long. It's kind of taints your freedom of expression and that sort of thing. Like, you always tend to see success from people coming from outside the club rather than
Well, a bit of a
intern.
clean out might be good for him. Get a whole new senior coach, new.
But on
assistant coach.
coaches, I really want to know who's the first one going down this year.
It's a race at the moment. I honestly, if
I think
Fremantle had
JL,
somehow lost
yeah.
on the weekend, I thought he would have gone.
Yeah.
Goodwin's close.
Yeah, I reckon Goodwin's going to be the first to go.
Nah, JL will be the first.
No, he'll do it. Freo
They'll
will
lose
stumble
next
along.
week and then...
Who have they got next week?
You don't,
I
but
don't
they might not. That might be the confidence boost they need to.
The catalyst.
Yeah, the catalyst. Yeah.
Yeah,
You know, my mate who
I'm not
doesn't
sure there's
really
much of a
follow
catalyst.
footy made a really good observation on the weekend when we were watching the derby together. He said, Freo are the worst team I watch when they're under pressure, and as soon as that pressure alleviates, they are the best team in the comp.
Yeah, super clean.
I wouldn't say best, but
when you think about it, he's not wrong. Every time they're playing an opposition that puts pressure on them, they fucking crumble. And as soon as there's no pressure, they become elite ball movers. Like I saw in that they just found space that they didn't have previous. The moment and all moved fluent. I don't think they train contested very well at all. Like your game plan's fine, but if you can't defend,
it's hard to tell because the West Coast ball movement was quite poor. So I really like.
Yeah, but their pressure was fucking through the roof in the first.
I did.
Hey, according to Fox's pressure meter that no one knows the
unspecified pressure meter.
What metric are they using to measure it?
Great question.
Yeah.
Great question, but it was like 50 point difference.
PSI?
It was 50 points different in West Coast favour, and Freo couldn't do a fucking thing. And then when that pressure meter went down lower than what Freo's was, they started getting space and clean ball movement. And then I thought about it. I was like, oh yeah, decent take. And then the more I was watching it, the more I'm like, wow. It's exactly right. There's no pressure, and you just we'll just walk it through the middle, or we'll just walk it up the wing.
The thing is, that won't stand up in finals. Finals is
not at all. I'm not saying it will stand up, but what it will do will give them more wins than not. When teams they're going hard, and then they take a spell, or you've got clubs who don't play pressure contested footy. Freo are going to walk over them because they can find this magical capacity to do so when they're not under the pump. I don't think JL will go unless if they lose like the next three after this, it might be a different conversation.
Yeah.
What's Goodwin's, man, him or Voss, they're going to...
I think, well, look at all the graffiti and shit that Voss copped.
Yeah.
You know?
Graffiti.
Yeah, they graffiti, what was it, not the club, the ground afterwards, it was like sack Voss or something. It was pretty, they want his head, man. Yeah,
right.
A Port Adelaide supporter... tactic every time they lose.
Yeah, they
Zach
go and tag
Hinkley
that sign on the thing. It's brilliant. That thing gets replaced like 9 times a year.
I bet it's the same person every time.
Yeah.
Consistency's the key.
That's it.
But, I mean, that's pretty harsh for Voss. Like, is that fair on him, or is it on the players?
It's a pretty shit start for Carlton, to be fair.
It's dreadful,
and just on that, we really probably should have seen it coming because I don't know if anyone saw the video of Sam McClure saying that Carlton should be the premiership favourite, and if you don't, if someone down the street tells you you're wrong, then they don't follow the game properly. I think.
Yeah, they're not watching football properly.
But
verbatim.
I'm putting it on the players too because they've not been great.
No, they haven't.
No, they're terrible.
And like, I don't know what happened to Mackay. They said personal reasons, and he played like local league.
Did he?
And I'm like, when you look, I don't know what it was, but when your team needs a response, you need your key forward.
Maybe it's because.
And if you can play local league, you can play the big game.
Did he play local league or did he play for Essendon?
Oh, because they're twins. Are they twins or they're just brothers?
They're twins.
Yeah.
But last year's the first time they ever played each other.
Yeah. And there was that whole like Spider-Man meme.
It was like eight years before they played against each other.
Yeah.
They had 8 years before they stepped foot on the same footy field. So that was a good conspiracy, actually.
That was, yeah. No, I think it's a pretty poor start from Carlton. And you said it a couple of weeks ago, Finn. You said trade request incoming.
Oh, I reckon it's going to be red hot, eh?
Yeah.
And it'll be, I don't know what his contract details were on his last extension, but it's going to be a third rounder.
Yeah.
Who?
It's all about Patrick Cripps.
Oh, yeah. Well, they've Zach Williams was a terrible buy at $800,000 a year. That's really hurt them. Like some of their recruits are shocking.
When Zach Williams is playing at his best, he's good.
That's been a long time.
But it's been a long time, yeah.
I don't even think we've barely seen him at Carlton. He's been injured.
But he was brilliant at Giants.
Oh, yeah.
Man, he was so good. I understand doing that, but like retaining like Sard, bad pickup. And Adam Sard, the more I think about it, only looked great because he was at Essendon.
Yeah. Because he was the only one that was
doing anything.
Actually fucking moving the football.
They play him out of his best position at Carlton as well.
Yeah, they do.
He's not a winger. No. Put him halfback where he can fucking do his thing. Like.
Yeah.
And position's a big thing, you know. Like you see it all the time. You see it like I look at James Harms. Doing so much more at the Bulldogs than he was at the D's because he's playing in a position that I think suits him better.
He's a workhorse too.
Yeah, but like I've always been critical of like fucking Harms is shit, but I think he was just out of position at the D's the whole time because he's been looking really good at the Dogs.
And he fits the Dog system well. I think it's the system and its
100%.
position.
And like people were coming in this year think Beveridge was going to be on his way out, but I think
I have no issue with Bevo.
Yeah,
Honestly,
I
I
think
don't.
neither do I.
He's
But
probably one of the least under pressure coaches, right?
He is now, but he finished last year as probably number one, and it's
And we've sat here and called for his head a few times, and
but he's like turn it around and good for him because he's a good coach, and I think the change in the playing group and whatnot's probably been beneficial.
Who else coaches have we got? So Voss, we've got J-Lo, we've got who else is
another 16 of them probably.
yeah.
That's how many coaches.
Well, who else is potentially under the pump for? The chop.
Well, Hink was gone, so I'd say
yeah.
Carr. I think if they were smart, they'd do that, but it's not going to happen. But so you can rule that out. You can rule Matty Nix out
for now. Yep.
No, you can rule him out.
Maybe
hey?
Bombers have won a couple.
Yeah, no, but have they won a couple?
They won
one game, and they limped across it. They played Port Adelaide, so it's kind of a training session, really.
Yeah.
He'll have a lot of pressure on him, and they're Bombers. That club's renowned for giving into what fan pressure is when it comes to their coaching. So,
yeah. Well, they're really your ones because you look at the others. Richmond, Melbourne, Goody. You said,
yeah.
Carlton, Voss. You said, Richmond, West
Queensland's safe.
Really do
New
much
South
with.
Wales is safe.
The rest are also relatively new coaches, so they're not really got a chance.
Yeah, like McQualter's obviously safe. It's his first season.
Yeah. I feel like,
and I think you can probably rule Bevo out at this point because
he'll do enough to retain, I think.
They look like a different side this year. So
Adam Uze will be safe. He's fine over there.
Bond. Yeah, you leave Uze doing his thing. He's the.
Well, Bulldogs have a few players to come back in, and that what's the Darcy? He's a star.
Who?
He is.
Darcy
before Sam Darcy.
Yeah,
Western Bulldogs.
Man, he's going to be so much better than his dad was.
Oh, he may be a generational player again.
I think so. I think so.
Because the more weight he puts on, the more experience, the more presence.
He's already playing like a fucking 70 gamer as well. Like it's actually unreal how good he is.
And he still goes under a little bit. Last week they picked up on him, but yeah, he will be a star.
Yeah.
Not already.
I feel like the media and the commentary have probably tried to leave him alone a little bit because of what his dad does now,
Yeah, but that's unfair.
Yeah.
You can't do that to every other gun out there. But he's like what they thought Hitwood was going to be. String bean, but can play footy.
Yeah. Exactly that.
Well, if you've ever seen, you probably don't watch the Sample much. Liam McBean, he was
I don't watch it at all, mate.
No, Liam McBean. He's a Glenelg player, and he used to play. He only had like a season or two at Richmond, and he's almost a similar body shape. And that guy's a freak. Like he is so good in the Sample.
He's so good that he plays AFL.
Well, look, Stanford's still a respected competition, and we do love them. But
as long as
but similar body
the Port
shape,
Adelaide
Magpies
Magpies exist, Samful's a bad competition.
Oh, there you go. You heard it here.
Live.
They're not prison bars, they're dock pylons.
They're what? Dock pylons. Holy shit. Anyway.
I've got a hard on for Hayden Port, eh?
You do, yeah.
Yeah, but
it's a long-standing.
Yeah, but the market.
I used to love them, and then they're just. Yeah. As soon as the jumper thing happened, that's it.
We will work for the marketing team though. So horsepower, 2026.
Yeah, you can. Hey, you're a Crom supporter. You should be like hating them more than me. But you just hate Freo more than everyone.
Yeah. Well, Power haven't let me down that much. Like Freo just, we used to be.
What?
We were members.
The direct opposition, mate.
We were members for Freo for years. We sat these games. I was at the 2013 prelim when they knocked out Sydney, and I was like, "Here we go." And what did they do? They choked when Hawthorn were beatable that day.
They did.
And I've never forgiven them since that point because it was the biggest letdown ever.
Yeah, they choked in 15 as well. It
was like 3-4 years they choked, yeah.
How dare you take away the only chance in history of there being a Derby grand final, you cunts.
Oh, could you imagine what that would be?
Could you imagine how much better that premiership win... Well, West Coast would have won the flag that year because Hawks wouldn't have played and they would have beaten Fremantle for it, and that would just be like...
Could you imagine the fights in the pub once the game was finished?
It would actually be wild.
It would have probably go down in history as one of the greatest grand finals of all time, and Freo just ruined it for Australia.
I remember I was working in Freo at the the time I remember they painted all the streets purple and all of that, and there was fucking flags everywhere.
We were
I had no
out-
idea what was
we
going on.
were out for Maddie's birthday, having a dinner, and the first final, West Coast Hawthorn final was on, and West Coast belted them, and it was purple.
Purple everywhere. I had no idea what was going on. I had no idea what footy was either. I was working in there, get off the bus in the morning, and the streets are literally purple, man. Fucking anchors everywhere.
We went when we were at the game. It was the most insane energy because it was the excitement of the first one ever, and then I think it was like halfway through the third, they weren't going to lose.
No.
And then I remember the Mexican wave going around in the fourth quarter. Like it was just such an. And then we got back on the train, and it was just chaos.
Yeah.
Back in the streets of Fremantle, cars are lined up, everyone's honking.
Yeah,
One of my best mates' dads painted his fence purple. Wife cracked the shits. It was just energy, man.
But
it was awesome.
It was big in 13, and then it was the final series in because they went straight sets in 14, didn't they?
Sadly, yeah.
Yeah, and then they lost the prelim in 15. But like I think it was more because they finished minor premiers in 15. That's why it was.
And Fife got injured in the 15 final series. Remember he broke his leg?
Broke his
Yeah,
leg.
that's right.
Maybe
And
I was watching footy.
No,
I think that didn't help him.
No,
No.
you weren't.
Would have been 16.
16 years
Yeah.
when
You would have been
first
like Liverpool
you
at that time.
You
Yep.
you started getting into it in 16.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah, because remember we watched the 16 grand final together.
Yeah, we did. Yeah. That was Western Bulldogs.
That was that was the Sydney. That was a cracker of a game to start it.
That
yeah.
was. Yeah.
It was you did watch the 15 grand final.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
And then you started actually kind of dialing into it in 16.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
we
then-
watched that.
And then you bailed
Dad's place.
you bailed on our grand final ritual to go watch it, which had in 16.
Did you?
Our grand final ritual that had happened once.
It's
yeah.
stuck every year since then,
It
just
has.
about,
That
except
is
for the
true.
one that I went to. That
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
And I had to sit and watch on my own. So you bailed on me too. You got your one back.
yeah. Hey, I went to a granny and you didn't.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Yeah, true.
I've done. I was at the 2014 Sydney Hawthorn game. That Tom Jones is the entertainment. It was.
Yeah.
That was.
I'll never.
I
ever.
feel like maybe I remember seeing that too.
14.
Yeah, Tom Jones.
Well, you maybe watched 14, but
Yeah, it was Ed Sheeran and
I-
Jones were the entertainment
yeah,
that
I
year.
saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so maybe it was the third year that you bailed on it.
Oh,
That was an
sweet.
interesting morning. Like, it was like maybe.
So it was almost ritualistic.
I'll
at that
never.
point.
I was so gutted because in 15, I had a ticket to the grand final at the MCG. My Victorian membership got me first div pool basically. So I got the ticket and then couldn't get a flight.
Damn. Well, just prices through the roof.
No, they were just like
Literally couldn't get a seat.
Couldn't
Oh,
get
from
it.
West Coast, yeah, because
Holy
everyone
shit.
would have been going.
yeah, just like couldn't get a flight. And
Yeah.
then 18 came along and I was so ahead on it that I knew that they were going to win it or they were going to be playing it at the very least. I could get a flight, but then I couldn't
Get a
get
ticket. God damn.
And it's like, why couldn't the two things I had be in the 1 year?
Hmm.
That would have been cool.
It would have been cool. But grand finals are awesome to go to.
I wouldn't
Yeah.
mind.
And
yeah.
I really think
The one you went to was kind of weird though, wasn't it? 'Cause
it was
it was
still
here,
epic though.
Optus.
It was still fucking epic.
who played?
It was
Brisbane?
no Melbourne versus
Melbourne.
Geelong?
the Dogs.
No, Dogs. Yeah, that's right. Because Melbourne won, didn't they?
Yeah, Melbourne won because
Oh.
Geelong. Because I went to Melbourne Geelong prelim as well.
Yep.
So my friend in Melbourne, her and her uncle, like long time D's members. So she obviously, because that was COVID, you couldn't come
Fly,
over.
Yeah.
But she basically gave me the two membership numbers. So I was able to secure tickets for both events and didn't pay. Thanks to undisclosed business taking me to.
Shout out
Did they
to
make
that
cotton? Do we need to investigate you?
business.
No. It
No.
was legitimate in my industry.
Okay, Finn Scott.
No, how do you
Finn
explain
Selwood.
it? Like,
It's like
It was-
promotional
it
shit.
was a
right?
supplier taking a customer to events.
Mm.
So,
Oh, business lunch.
Yeah, exactly
yeah.
that. Yeah. So, but the first one, because you could get 8 tickets for a prelim. A lot of customers got to go to that, and one of the staff members from undisclosed business, their cousin Sorry, I'm just trying to.
We're not the
remember,
taxation
I'm
department.
trying
It's
to
okay.
remember their cousin's Mitch Duncan, so he was playing
Right.
in the prelims. So that was quite a good event till Geelong lost. But it was pretty good sitting with some diehard caddies in that in the Melbourne D's section.
That would be fun.
So that was pretty interesting. And then the same thing happened again. But only one pass equaled one ticket for the grand final.
Yeah.
Which
and
is
you
fair.
still had to win the pool for it. So, but they did get the pool for it. 'Cause it was probably a lot easier that year than it was any other year because
You'd imagine so. Yeah.
they were. If you were here to get a ticket and you were part of those memberships first dibs, well then you're pretty much guaranteed it.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And there was a lot less sponsorship rorting of the grand final than there is in Victoria.
Did they open up the capacity for that one? No, 60,000.
Yeah, capped out. It might have been like 63 there or something.
Yeah.
like,
Okay.
but they have to put more seats in, basically.
Yeah. It's a big job. Anyway, we digressed a lot.
But that's good.
Port Adelaide
Good
there.
content.
Good chat.
No, nothing to clip though, because Chad didn't make any jokes.
No, he didn't.
I was trying to like walk along a thing where it was like, Warner has to choose between McWalter or Cox. Which one he wants? Cox more, does he want?
Yeah,
Cox?
we
could
picked
clip
up
that.
on it, but you've made a lot of Cox jokes the last 3 weeks, and I feel like
I can't think of anything else.
yeah, we know.
That says a lot about you, Chad.
We are aware.
But I'm more curious. You've had questions to ask me and Finn for your part,
Yeah,
so
you did,
I'm
Yeah, I
curious.
just wanted to ask. Like, I was looking
No,
at.
we haven't done our tips.
Okay, that's not the question. But
Neither
I
have I.
have.
It
I have,
was
I'm
going to be a
prepared.
question.
It will be a question later, but my real question that I thought would potentially spark an interesting conversation. I was looking at the scores from these games and that, and I was thinking, like, there were some pretty shit games,
Oh yeah.
but there was also some pretty good games. So what is it that makes a game good? Is it goals upon goals upon goals, or is it close call games and
two
pure
types.
contest?
Two types are good there. There is if goals upon goals upon goals is still a good game if the scores are close. If it is lots of, it's entertaining, right? I think the way I look at it is as a neutral spectator, tight contested, low skill errored games are good games, right? Like a low scoring game isn't a bad thing if it's tight contest, it's rough, it's tumble, but the skills are elite. Right? If you got a low scoring game from two teams, fucking turning it over from shit disposal and like dropping the ball, you're not winning it from fucking contest. There's no sick tackles. That's a shit game. If you get the same score, but it is the opposite way around, that like you're getting so much pressure, there's heaps of holding the ball and like possession's changed, or there's no intercepting, there's turnovers from like huge contested grabs, and you go, oh, that was sick, then that's a good game.
Fair. Thought.
It's a hard one. I mean, like, if you get an old fashioned shootout, I guess, where it's goal for goal and it's high scoring. I mean, it's entertaining, but then you've also it's also in a negative way where it's like, well, they can't defend well.
Yeah, but look, it's not meant to be like scrutinised. You just
I'm just saying there's positives and negatives. Like, if you have a hard contested one, like say the derby on the weekend, the skill level was shocking.
Terrible. It's what made it a bad game.
That was hard to watch. That was like you'd be lucky to get that. I would say in the waffle, but the Dockers waffle team's better than the fucking main team.
That's largely due to the players that have played in it. Yeah.
Apparently Fife and Mulbrody aren't good enough to get the beds.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, you look at a game like energy wise, let's say the 2016 grand final, which we touched on, like, great skills, high energy, highly contested. Like, there were great tackles, there were great goals.
That was a pretty good grand final.
Yeah. And the score wasn't a blowout either way, either, was it?
No.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the 2018 grand final with Collingwood and West Coast, the skill level on that was insane.
Still goes down. It will go down in history as one of the greatest grand finals of all time because of that exact reason, right?
Yeah.
It was a good slingshot, come from behind win. That's all well and good, and there was epic moments in it. But as you said, the skills from both sides were fucking elite that day. Like, you couldn't pick. What's one player you pick out of each team and say I can pick one player from West Coast who did nothing, and everyone else and everyone in Collingwood was just like on song. So
it's sad there has to be a loser in those moments because
yeah, it
is what it is. But I mean, you've obviously we'll touch vaguely on the Crows, like with their start to this year and their start to the 2017 season being very similar, like that high octane, high scoring. I mean, that's exciting.
Crom have never had a similar season before, mate. Only one team's had a similar season start to that.
That is very true. I'd seen this during the week, and then you shared it on the way here. I just want to dial back to the question. The reason that I was asking is because I really don't like watching basketball, right? Because it's
ting 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 ting.
yeah, it's this whole
Aerial-
fucking
Aerial ping pong.
aerial ping pong, this back
Which
and
is what
forth
they say
thing.
AFL is a bit like.
Yeah, well, that Essendon Port game, not to dial back to Port and how shit they were, the points that were kicked, 30 points kicked in that game.
That was Essendon's contribution mostly.
18 to 12, so it's not that heavily weighted either way. Well, I guess it is, but
That's 30% more.
yeah, fair.
J-
But 18
yeah,
and 12, so what that does then is
Oh,
create...
sorry, that's 50% more.
Yeah, it is, yeah. Quick math. It
that's
creates
Charlie Dixon stats
that-
we're talking there.
Yeah. creates that aerial ping pong thing, though, because then what you're getting is just a no skills in the middle, no contest, and the ball just bounces to the other end and no goals.
I don't mind like lots of behinds if the inside, the middle's good, and you get to see like, oh, you missed that. That's a 7-point turnaround. Because it goes straight back through them for a goal. That's where it's that was sick.
But it's not a 7-point turnaround because it's a fucking 2-point turnaround, and you're going again for the same. And it just
you got to remember that Port, where did they kick most of their behinds in the second half? They weren't.
True.
Weren't actually getting scoring.
Which is probably when I started watching it. Which is probably why I have that thought around it. But
behind's a two-pronged to it. It's either it's poor looks at goal they're getting, so their ball movement's ineffective, or it's poor shooting, or generally it's a mixture of both.
There's been times historically where scoring behinds for teams has been very good because their game style is locking the ball in. So like they'll get 3 behinds, then a goal before it even leaves the 50. So that they've made 10 points and put your opposition under so much pressure that when it goes into the centre again, they're so gassed that the ball goes straight back down there again. And when teams have executed that, that's been like brilliant footy to watch. But that's the hardest thing to do in the game. I think it's why we don't see it much anymore because that sort of lock-in performance is.
And with the zones, especially with the bounces now, like you can do less tactically in some ways because you can't really set up behind the ball anymore.
No, you can't.
So it limits the coaches to what. So the game styles are not similar, but you've got 2 types this year. It's either fast handball chains through the center, or you've got the Port style where they're going to go back and forward, or they're going to use this. They're going to go around.
Mind you, I think we've seen more of fast wing movement than we have center movement.
Yeah, but that's very Freo-esque.
A little bit wider.
Yeah, well, it's not just Freo. That's how Hawks have been playing. It's like fast wing,
they're not sticking to one side of the oval either. They're happy
move back to the corridor to make inside 50 shots.
Well, it's with but Hawks have the ball skills to be able to do that. Freo don't have the skill set to. They turn it over too much, But then you've got the teams like the Crows, and they just want to go straight through the middle.
Yeah, and that's the corridor's the most efficient route goal, isn't it?
So, it's high risk, high turnover footy. Yeah,
that's right. But if you can execute it, but that stat's good. I love that stat.
Yeah,
2 teams in history have won their first 12 quarters.
Yeah, but I'm saying the Crow start was very reminiscent of our 2017 year, where it was just high scoring, high octane.
Oh, they look so good.
High risk,
now.
It's confidence. Yeah.
If Sam McClure had mentioned Adelaide instead of Carlton, then maybe we wouldn't think he's a Gronk. But
a Gronk.
But I've taken away from your question, but it depends. Okay. But it's also like it's almost like the tactical side of it too. Like if you can see coaches making moves or players adjusting. But there's moments too, like I want to harp on about the Crows, but there was that year when Fife and Dangerfield went 1-on-1 with each other, and both Walsh and Lyons said we'll just let them continue to contest each other, and that was good was good for the game instead of making a tactical change.
Little mini battles inside games are always good to see.
Well, yeah, I mean, I like what you said because that's sort of my thoughts on it. Is I like it when you get little tactical changes like that. And that's what sort of made me enjoy watching the game.
But you don't see as much of it anymore.
No, you don't. Like we went the first time I actually went and watched the game live is when it was 2016 maybe. Like we were just saying before. Don't know, but that's when I sort of decided, I want to watch this and I want to follow this because you could literally see it happening. Where maybe we were fortunate, maybe my brain was just functioning properly that day, but I could see these tactical changes happening where we were sitting and looking sort of straight down at the oval. Like you say, you don't see it that much anymore, but that's when I look at a game and I go, that was a good game. When you see something change
Well,
that has an immediate impact.
Everyone's perspective's different as
well.
well.
That's why I wanted to ask, because I thought it would be interesting.
I think I can give the vaguest answer possible in that, but you could also get right down into it. That's like sometimes I'll deem a game good just by seeing a couple of good individual performances.
Yeah.
Like most of the time, it's pretty rare for me to watch a Giants game and say that was shit.
Yeah, that's fair.
Unless their opposition was so bad that it's just a blowout, because you always get to see good individual performances from that team. And they've been that way since they started. So,
but I remember the first game I ever watched, because I found footy later in my, like, not later, but I think I was maybe like 11 or 12. It was the 2000 grand final between Brisbane and the Bombers. Perhaps the what do they call it? The baby Bombers versus
Bombers, yeah.
And the list and the skill set between Lloyd and Watts, and then you had all the Brisbane in their peak. Like, that was a game.
Yeah, but that baby Bombers team that year was just.
And you went and watched that live.
No, I remember my grandpa was over from South Australia. I don't know. I watched it with him and Mum.
Yeah.
And I just remember watching that as the first ever game, and I was just entranced by it, like the skill.
That's how a lot of modern day Essendon supporters came about, was because of that season. Because they were just.
Well, now most of them came from the needle exchange after the Asada.
Yeah, but
excellent.
But yeah,
I just thought it'd be interesting because the perspective piece as well.
It's it's like that brilliant, whatever. It's just that skill level that you pay to see.
Yeah,
but I think it's varied a little bit now, because since it's become such like is it aerobic? That means like high fitness. The premise is more on the fitness capacity, and the skill set has diminished a bit. That part is sad.
But ironically, a lot of players who have been brought in for their athleticism have gone on to be like they don't play footy, and they go on to end up having good careers because having such a natural athleticism, it's easier to develop in something to do. Like that was the thing with Nick Nat, wasn't it? Like he wasn't really a footy player.
Just a freak.
He was a basketball
athlete.
player, but athletically he was unreal, and he was doing bullshit stuff early.
My buddy had the gift he had the footy prowess and the athletic, and that was just generational. Same with Goods. He was an incredible
Adam
athlete.
Goods, yeah,
great footy
mental athlete. Like it's
Same with McLeod, same thing. Like you get those players, and they've got both, and it's
rare. It's very rare.
Where Swanee, he had the brains, not necessarily the work ethic or the body, but he was just so gifted intellectually with footy knowledge.
Fair enough.
Yeah, he was pretty good to watch. Sam Mitchell, same thing, not athletic at all, really.
He'll tell you.
No, he had lead in his ass.
Yeah.
Fuck me, he could play football.
Smart cookie. Yeah.
Hodgie was the same, actually, when you think about it.
Yeah, I mean, Bolter's got definitely a career in boxing if footy doesn't work out. So he's a great athlete. Yeah. What do we think of that? Now that I actually I thought we'd bring that up because it's quite a.
I mean, the bump's not dead, is it? Went in with a big hip and shoulder.
Oh, from behind, it was a very
I love
confident, powerful man.
I love that he performed 2 dog shots and the guy was still able to go, "What are you doing, man?"
Yeah.
Like,
the argument was over pizza, apparently.
I don't know. Yeah, I never liked Bolter anyway.
But I mean, obviously, and they've settled out of court, so there's clearly a financial amount.
Oh yeah.
But are we happy with 3 games for that? Because how is that not bringing the game into disrepute?
100% it is. It's because it's a different. People say, "Well, Liam Ryan didn't get in trouble at all," but he was criminally investigated and the police cleared it, saying no, he was
defense
and defending other people. Wasn't defending himself. He was defending other people. And as soon as it was done, he was able to leave the area, which he intended to do in the first place. So. Whereas Noah Bolter just assaulted someone from behind twice.
Mm-hmm.
And had another dog shot when the guy
his
was
way
already
out.
dead.
Yeah.
And there was no physical altercation between him and his brother. There was just a silly argument about pizza, apparently. And it was probably about pineapples. And look, if that's probably maybe one punch if he wanted to put that pineapple on that pizza. But that you stop at that. But that, it's cowardly.
Yeah.
And he could have really fucked him up.
100%. That last one's what they consider a coward punch. It shocks me that there's going to be no criminal repercussions for that.
Well, the AFL needs to step in and go, sorry, 3 weeks isn't enough. You can take the year out for disrepute.
Yeah, and look at what they've done to players in the past.
Yeah.
And how can you
smoke a few bongs and have 2 years off?
Oh, well, I mean, his ban wasn't for the weed.
No.
Probably wouldn't have got banned for the weed if he'd been.
He should have just pissed in the thing like normal.
Yeah. Well, he just said, "Hey, I've been smoking weed."
Yeah.
you'll get a 3-week ban, and they'll put you in counselling, and then away you go. But it's some people. I mean,
you panic under pressure.
Yeah,
I mean,
like,
look,
especially the position his team was in at the
Yeah.
time, and I think that's kind of what set him off. We talked about that.
Yeah, we did.
yeah.
We
multiple
did.
times.
Oh, we don't judge. I think everyone in WA's almost at least had one bong in their life. You know,
I think the bongs have smoked bongs.
that's why Powerade is such a
Sorry,
financial
that's-
power.
Yeah, that's why it was so popular. Yeah.
Gatorade,
Electrolytes.
mate.
Yeah.
Gatorade.
Yeah.
Sponsor us, Gatorade.
Good.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Um.
Oh, you wanted.
Oh, look, look.
I guess I will.
Yeah, fuck
yeah.
it.
If you're gonna twist my arm, I'll
Yeah.
talk about Crom.
I guess I'll talk about my
No,
team.
we're gonna try and keep the lid on because obviously it's round 4 or 3 or whatever the fuck round we're up
I'll
to.
tell you what, if Carlton had that start, the lid would be fucking so far off. It's not funny.
Yeah, I mean, keeping in mind like what we've played: St Kilda, North Melbourne, and the Bombers. So it's teams that didn't feature in the 8 last year.
No. Well, your team sucked last year, so you're going to have an easy draw, which is kind of a really good thing.
Yes, but I mean, with the performances they've done, everything you can only play who's put before you.
100%.
Scoring heavily, we're still letting a few goals in.
I also
Yeah.
wouldn't say beating North is an easy street at the moment either. So.
No, like I said, they did challenge us, and then we still put the
100%
foot
they
down
did.
after that.
Yeah, that was because they
You
they
played
like-
Melbourne, not. Oh no, sorry. My bad. You did play the Bombers.
They came
Sorry.
screaming and then were able to wear that pressure and then
And that's what we haven't done for the last 4 years. Once we get pressure applied, like we thought we just can't respond with goals, but this time, we're not only do we halt the pressure, we actually drop the
you
goals.
know what I
onto
think's
them. Yeah.
surprising about it is there's been no real change to the team itself. It's all finally clicking from what Matty Nix was trying to put in place.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the forward line's I would say almost on par with 2017's forward line. I think Betts was still that electricity we don't have that we're hoping
Yeah.
Rochelle will turn into.
Well, you can't replicate that.
No.
No, he's a generational player again.
Yeah.
But I mean, you look at like
I really
Yeah.
like Ben Keys.
he
Oh,
is very underrated. I feel
He's not. I don't think he's underrated at all. I think he's pretty well renowned throughout the competition.
But his ability to hit the scoreboard highly now and get the disposals,
he
like
just
he's
kind of
yeah.
needs to get rid of that stupid head.
Yeah.
It's
I
kind
can
of like
get
him and
behind
Fricks. I couldn't tell them
They,
apart. If
you
they were
literally
standing
couldn't tell them
together.
apart, and like they don't look good.
that.
Pompadours have never looked good.
Pompadours.
Those
Is that the
two-
name of the haircut?
Yeah,
Yeah, right.
But I mean,
Look,
yeah.
Judge no one based on their haircut.
I
like,
judge everyone based on their haircut, and I'm allowed to because
Yeah.
I have a shit haircut.
the
Right?
mud flat. No, look, I really like him, and I think you can really see his leadership
Great
standing up
player,
too.
yeah. But he's
this
hitting
year.
he's hitting his right game amount at this point. That's like, and it's probably something that's getting them there. Is a lot of these players are getting to that 100, 150 mark now. Where
Yeah.
it's just a lot of
And a lot of them played together too.
yeah, a lot of them have played together.
And
yeah.
that Draper's first goal, I'm not sure if you saw it. That was exciting. Like he kicked
Yeah.
2. Obviously, Kane Corns being the expert, clearly Texas passed it when he's dropping 4-2 in a game.
Is that what he said?
He said if he said round 1, he goes, he's not the best 22 anymore.
Well, I mean, it's kind of you can say that about a lot of people his age. Like I think the difference is that Tex seems to have a longevity that you see every now and then. Like but like I would start the season saying that about every player of that age bracket. They're past it, and then you come out and surprise me. Awesome.
Yeah.
Like, you know who's past it now? Scott Pendlebury.
Mm.
He's officially past it, but I would have said that leading into the year. He's probably going to be done this year, and then he was really good last year.
Yeah.
This year, I think he might finally be past it, which is fine.
Not, mate,
Dude's
when you've had
what,
that long of a career.
37, 38, like, you're allowed to be past it now.
Like, he would have been drafted in the year we were still in high school, I think. That's how long he's been around.
Yeah. And you're allowed to, you've played, how many games has he played now?
300 and whatever. Was it 400? 300?
He's a 400 player.
400, yeah.
Like he could, if he sharpens up, he could set the record. Like it's.
I just feel they're carrying him to it a bit now, and that's
So do I.
not worth it.
And not at all. Like, and still side bottom is probably not far behind him at past it.
Just what you just said there about the Crows, about the 100 to 150 games. I just went and looked at their club stats, and they're actually 20 under the competition average for games.
Is that right?
69 is their average games played.
That's a
It's
really
a good number.
It is.
really good
And a good
list,
time. Yeah.
really good list profile.
Yeah.
Very good list profile. Because I think you'll find
average age at 24, average height at 189.
Because I think you'll
69
find
games.
that there's not a lot of players over 200.
No, you'd have a handful. Yeah.
So that number is reduced because the average most amount of games in the side is quite low in comparison, and then you add all that youth into it as well. So who's all at 50 games, and then I reckon that's who's the second.
Oh, I don't know. I just clicked on Adelaide versus
the
competition.
Have a look. Have a look at each one, because this would be interesting to see based on what performances we've seen. Let's check Carlton. Start with Carlton. It'd be actually really interesting to see if
just scroll all the way down to the bottom.
If that age profile is relevant for performances we've seen so far, right? Because I think Norths would be pretty close to that.
Yeah, so theirs is 72.
Yeah, so there's that's pretty. Whose is? Carlton's. Yeah.
North at 63.
So North's is less than Adelaide.
Yeah.
So that's really interesting.
But that being, I mean, you look at the age profile. So we if we keep on our current trajectory, we're going to feature in September heavily.
I think so.
But it's not just this year. It's going to be we can go for the next 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, your window's finally open, and that's a pretty critical thing, because it's not taken long since it's closed for it to open again, right?
Oh, it's an 8-year turnaround, yeah.
Yeah, which is pretty good.
Well, I mean, it was sad is like we went so high in set 20, and then it was just one fucking camp. Like
it killed the club.
That still upsets me. Where it's like, look, you wanted to take yourself to the next level. You wanted to do anything you wanted to do.
They didn't even need to do that. That's the worst part about it.
Yeah, but when you're lost, and then you wanted to get that mental prowess. Like what? Like I wasn't at the camp.
You got to.
I wouldn't mind going through it so I know what it feels like.
The average rule is you got to lose one, win one, right? That's usually how it goes in most teams.
Yeah.
Well, it is. It is. It's, a lot of the time you got to lose. It's a rare occurrence. Anytime you don't see that is when you see a dynasty. They're just win. But otherwise, you lose one, then you win one. You lose one, you win one. All right, like it's usually the way it goes. So all they needed to do was rock up the next year, as they were, with just like, we're going to go out there and we're going to do it again, and this time we'll get there, and they probably would have fucking got.
Yeah.
But instead, they went all.
Yeah.
But I mean, you even like Brisbane didn't have a camp, but there was obviously much fucking in a camp with whatever they did in their off season when they won they came back the second time.
Yeah.
And it's like, look, whatever happens in preseason camps, footy camps, whatever. You're professionals. Can you not put all that shit to a side? Like I can't so I wasn't at the camp.
Highly paid professionals.
You know, it clearly wasn't Auschwitz, so it wasn't that dreadful. We're going to compare camps.
Oh, there's one.
No, if we're going to be on,
you always got to bring the fucking war into it, don't you?
That's a good one.
But no, if you want to compare camps, like what, one person blindfolded you and played loud music.
Well, we're going to have clipping in this episode, FYI.
You know, one camp, you didn't come back from the other.
Probably, yeah.
You know, they didn't come back from the other camp. You know what I mean? Like, can we please put things in perspective with this generation where it's like, look,
you're unreal.
How have you just gone from, the camp really bothered me, to, it wasn't that bad because it wasn't Auschwitz? You've just like contradicted yourself.
No, I think the camp was a good idea in terms of, well, if you want to take yourself to the next level, you've got to do a few different things. And if, like, I'm trying to think, like, how bad could it actually have been this generation?
Killed the football club, so I'd say it was.
It did, but like,
bad.
I just like, I don't know what they could have possibly done to do that.
You literally lost the man who was the blood and culture of your football club. It forced him to turn his back on him.
Oh, yeah, I'm aware of the after effects.
I'd say it was pretty bad, right?
It would have to be, yeah.
And that camp, probably all it needed to be was those boys spending a bit more time together, having fun rather than like, you need to go harder and tougher.
Yeah,
like.
Clubs do these camps every fucking year.
Yeah.
And they've never had that dire consequence off the back of them.
Well, it was just total capitulation after that. I've never seen it.
Camps shouldn't have dire consequences. The whole point is it's more bonding. And all you got to do is like maybe spend time with the players who you don't spend a lot of time with usually.
Yeah.
because that'll help you on the footy field because you want to play more for them and do more.
I understand like hive mind and group mindset stuff. You've got to work on that stuff too, but you don't need to berate someone and crush someone.
No, because
tear them down to nothing to be able to do
that's
that.
Like, that's military-esque training. That's Navy SEAL stuff.
Yeah,
like where they,
and it's they're not there killing people. They're kicking fucking balls around.
Yeah, at the end of the day, you simmer it down. They're chasing a sack of air.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they're getting paid a lot of. Yeah, well, they're getting paid a lot of money to do it.
Yeah,
Navy SEALs get paid fuck all.
Why would you treat them like fucking they're soldiers? Like, anyway.
No, I'm just saying, if you paid me $1 million a year and all you want to do is blindfold me and yell at me, I am available, happy to do it. Like, I would love to hear the actual details of what the structure for that camp was, and then I'll go through it. What step by step? I'll be like, too far, kinky, probably not. Try it once. That's the bucket list whenever I go terminal. Like, you know what I mean? Like, well, there's the time and place for everything.
Fucking hell, Chad.
You know, it cost us the dynasty, and it upsets me.
Yeah,
and I haven't moved on since.
I don't think it cost you a dynasty. It cost you a potential opportunity to premiership.
I think it cost us at least 2.
No, because they would have got. Nah.
That list was good enough and young enough to challenge for a couple of years.
Mate, they weren't beating the big birds the next year, right?
It would have been a hell of a contest.
They weren't beating big birds.
Kennedy and Darling versus
They potentially
Tex
weren't
and
even
Beds.
beating the Pies either to get there.
No, Collingwood were fucking good.
They were good that year.
Collingwood were like, and they were not meant to be a good that year team as well. That was what was so surprising.
Well, they were just momentum based.
I know right now they could beat the Pies and they could probably go real well if they can maintain where they're at.
It'd be interesting to see them when they play Brisbane.
The Crows in Brisbane.
Yeah.
I'm that's coming up though. That's not far away, is it?
Did you check any age profiles?
I looked at GWS.
Yep.
They are pretty much exactly the same as the Crows.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yes, they're in the window.
Under 70 looking good. Over 70 looking bad.
69 perfect.
You say that, Brisbane 87. So.
Yeah, but some of their older players might have a bit more weight than the rest of them.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, age-wise.
Talking about skin folds again.
But you can't bring up skin folds. You can't bring up cams.
I disagree. Apparently, you can bring up.
You can put
folds.
them in contracts. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just on the Brizzy thing, real quick, before you carry away from that, their window's been open for ages.
Yeah.
And they've got a nice list. Like their age profile's not bad.
And it's probably pretty close to
Collingwood. 104.
Yeah.
But they're older players. Pendlebury's will stack that stat quite heavily.
Pendlebury and Sidebottom are jacking that right
Yeah,
up.
that's
the rest,
true, yeah.
Like, there's going to be some outliers to what we're looking at here. But
yeah.
If you check Richmond, for example, they're probably going to be, around 60 now?
Yeah.
Maybe less.
Richmond.
But on the skin fold,
54.
54. Yeah. So that's really low. And what's West Coast at? They got a few
very young.
Few veteran. No. They're going to be. I'm going to say around 80.
61.
All right. So they're looking good now. They'll be coming up to that. St Kilda. Well, they're going to be. I'm going to say 75.
I clicked Freo already.
Freo must be around the 68, 69.
Yeah,
mark.
68.
Yeah, they would be. Yeah.
And St Kilda 68.
There you go. So that's pretty interesting from St Kilda. They've actually managed to clear out a bit of age in that. And
they have in Tim Embry.
Collingwood is the oldest. I already know that.
Yeah.
So
I think St Kilda's gone full system base because it's starting to work. Whatever Ross is doing.
Doggies will be up there. Yeah, but they've got quite a few veterans as well. But it surprised me the Saints can bring in a 260 game player and still be so low.
Yeah.
I wonder what North are at.
But skin folds.
You already checked North.
Oh, did I? Yeah, I did 63.
Yeah.
Yeah, skin folds.
So we can put them in contracts. We just can't discuss them in public. Is that's
they're now being discussed in public.
Yeah, well, hey, look, I think Jake Stringer having a skin fold clause is probably pretty important.
I think it's probably smart. Yeah.
Well, considering his history.
And I think it's probably beneficial for him, and he needs that because it's what he might have been like. Yeah, I'm okay with that. It's going to keep me in shape, moving.
But it's like you can't bring it up about an AFL player. If you were an air hostess, you can't tell me they don't do skin folds.
They didn't say it was skin folds in general. It was skin folds in the draft. You can't perform skin fold tests on teenagers anymore to determine if they're suitable at your footy club.
I thought it was not a whole AFL thing. I thought it was a general thing.
Well, How are they going to stop you? That you got to.
This
keep,
is what I
It's
said.
more
It's
that
absolutely
it's like the
happening.
appropriateness of it. If you're an
you
elite
gotta,
athlete,
you got to
like,
keep your.
yeah.
You got to keep your. But I
It's
agree.
absolutely been
but it's
happening.
definitely
They've just not
something
been
they
talking
can be
about it.
doing to draft prospects. Like that's not right.
It's just going soft.
They're,
it's like
they're
what
kids.
you know.
They might be fat this year, and then they're going to be fucking another foot taller and skinny the following year. That's what happens to.
The AFL has banned skinfold testing, a method of measuring body fat for athletes in its junior talent pathways and draft prospects, citing concerns about mental health and body image.
Do not fuck
and
with
has
me.
removed player weights from official publications. No, the AFL has banned skinfold
Player
testing.
weights, not skinfold testing on players. It's only on youth development. You literally just read it right then.
But if you talk about professions, that's like banning STD checks from prostitution.
Read it
Like,
again.
it doesn't make any sense.
The AFL made the decision to prioritise the health and well-being of athletes, particularly young players, and to avoid potential negative impacts on their mental health and body image. Along with banning skinfold testing, the AFL also removed player weights from official publications and websites, further emphasising the focus on mental health and privacy. So skinfold testing is banned.
Right. Well, it's not.
Apparently not.
Yeah.
But if you're an elite athlete,
I'm pretty sure they still have player weights in the app.
No, they don't.
Oh.
The AFL's decision to ban skinfold testing is in line with other Australian sports like netball. And I'm pretty sure it's banned in the air too, because, you know.
That's why they're all none of them. That's more of a practicality thing. If you've got a big person and an air hostess or host, like you're not going to be able to get through the plane. There's only so much room you can
I
get
was on a
through.
Virgin flight last year, and there was a bigger person
I'm gonna
operating in that role.
make a point right now that if skinfold testing wasn't around, we wouldn't have seen Jeremy McGovern reach the heights he did. Because he was fat and lazy, and he's the one who's talked all about that. And
Now he loves a pie and all of that. Yeah,
and
all
he
facts,
is
man.
currently the fittest he's probably ever been.
Yeah, I'm not saying that like what merit they've got. I'm just saying like if you're a professional athlete, you're putting yourself out there in regards to being commented on your professionalism or your weight.
Well, look,
Right.
I'll go and round to this, right? If your mates don't tell you're a fat cunt and you got to do something about it, you generally that level of and that's not coming from a negative opinion. That's like someone who cares about you saying, "Fuck, dude, you're a fat cunt. Do something about it." Right? It's not.
It's the difference between kind and nice. Kind is telling you the truth, what you need to hear. Nice is telling you what you want to hear.
Yeah, and it's like, well, fucking, I was a fat cunt, and if I didn't have people tell me over the years, bro, you're a fat cunt, I probably never would have done anything about it. So, skinfold testing important. Tell your players they're fat cunts, and they won't be fat cunts.
It is like we're going to get to the point in our because we've already gone past our decadence. We're doing ancient Rome. We're nosediving now.
As long as we don't touch the Greeks, mate.
We're not far away from the Greeks. But it is. It's like you're going to end up having runway models. They're like, oh, you can't skinfold test me. Like that's where we're going.
Modeling's already got everyone in it. Yeah. Even Jack Ginnivan went down the thing. So.
Yeah, the standards have completely gone now. You know, but it's like, if you're a professional athlete, what's above that? You open yourself up to these kind of comments. Like, do you know what I'm like? What else are you supposed to be judged upon?
Dermot Brereton?
Yeah. Oh, the body.
He's probably got a bit too much body positivity. Yeah.
Mate, he just loves to talk about a body. That's his ultimate fave.
But I think you look at from his era, it was like the bigger and tougher you were, the better the footy player you were, and that's probably true. The reality of it. That's why he loves Ruben Jimby so much because he's just built like a brick shit out.
He's a fucking beast.
And like it's by default,
if I can say that.
Yeah, as an AFL player, you should that should be the minimum. Like you need to keep in peak fitness.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
Par for the course, isn't it?
Yeah.
What's that? Who's the new young fella for Fremantle?
Oh, the young lad who debuted?
Yeah,
Dudley,
mate. He's gonna be a fucking gun, right?
Yep.
He's overweight.
Yep.
Right. But he is, and he looks exactly the same as Willie did when Willie started.
Yeah.
It's literally what I said to Chad in the car.
Yeah, and it's he won't be self-conscious about it. He'll just be, I'll keep working at it. I'll keep working at it, and I'll keep working at it.
He's very cute, like,
but he's also of that age where in 2 years' time he might get a little bit taller, and with that taller, we'll get a little bit thinner.
But he can kick. His foot skills are elite. Like his infield, his field kicking and his goal kicking, elite. Yeah.
Eddie Bett's nephew, isn't he? What does that tell you?
No, what was it? Eddie? Oh, he is. Yeah.
What's that?
No, they played together in that team. I can't remember. They said it before the game started.
But
one of the country teams. Yeah.
It's his
literally.
It was nice to see his family. His family were in the crowd. It was quite
uncles
cute.
are- Uncle's a god. Oh man, but he was on fire, bro. I was like, man, why don't we have him? Like,
When the game was there to be won in the first quarter, he was there. Yeah,
Yeah.
and he was kicking. No, lovely to see.
yeah.
But I said, like, younger player first game in, I'm not expecting him to be chiseled like Pavlich or Dangerfield, right?
No, but it's just like it. He's got so much. I think the way that I perceive it, right, and it was the same with Willie. He's got so much freakish natural talent that they probably haven't had to work on fitness to keep up with people because it's just like it's so potent that it's like I'll just do my thing and I'll do my thing, but it will get away from him and he'll just keep working hard.
Yeah.
As he learns what AFL is like, and going in against West Coast in your first game is probably pretty good.
Yeah.
Right, because it's not a lot of pressure on you. You can perform well. Their defense.
You can perform well for a quarter and then fade out. That's not.
But
a
he
problem,
didn't. He was going the whole game.
was.
But like but he'll go against when he goes up against a higher tiered team. But it'll just drive him to work harder. He's gonna be so good, man.
He's got prowess. He's got the footy prowess.
Oh man, you can just tell it's like leaks out of him, man. And he's just happy kid, just happy out there having a crack.
Yeah, he brought energy. That cause I didn't even know I didn't follow the footy much during the week. I didn't even know he was debuting, but I mean, straight in, like ready-made.
It's Freo's biggest fan. That surprises me.
He is Freo's biggest fan.
Yeah. Well, I thought he'd be that. How good he was. I thought he'd be playing waffle for sure.
There it is.
He'll be playing there next week. I can guarantee you. It's like we don't have that skill level here, mate. No.
Right, the tips then.
Yep.
I haven't even. Yeah, all right. Let's.
I just look at it and run through it because that's all I need to do. So, here we go.
I've got in the habit of just doing mine straight after the game on Sunday.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, you don't want to go too quick because then it's like if there's an out or anything that it doesn't leave as much
we're
room to
already
maneuver.
doing it on this undisclosed day, so
Hey, it's a fucking Monday.
I'm going Collingwood.
Bye.
Oh, that's a good question. I won't remember this, but I'm going to say...
Put it in the app.
19. Oh, yeah, that's right. We do it on the thing, don't we?
Ooh, Collingwood and Carlton. You're right.
Yeah, another...
You know, right.
It's right here. I have it open still. I'm so good. All right, I'm going Collingwood, and I'm going to go by 29 points.
Okay.
Ooh, yeah.
No, 30. I've gone 30. Straight 30. And then I'm going to go Cats. And then, ooh.
This is going to be a tough one to touch.
This is the game. This is the game. You can't tip against the Coasters right now, and you can't tip against the Crom right now.
No, you can't.
Who do you got, Daniel?
From the top or
no, just
in that game? I got the Gold Coast Suns.
Yeah.
Yeah. So People First Stadium.
I'm going Crows before Hose.
I'm going Crows before Hose too.
Yeah, right.
I think Gold Coast will put up a good challenge, especially at home.
But
I'm going Brisbane, but I won't be surprised if Richmond give the reigning premiers a touch up for most of that game as well, because apparently it's easy to do.
Bit of a cat fighting.
I'm going North over Sydney.
Ooh, it's a
big one.
There's a big one.
Big boy.
One of those two teams look better than the other one so far this season.
Oh, the next one.
Oh,
That's a hard one to tip.
What am I doing on Sunday?
Hogan to kick 10.
Why can't the UFC be this weekend?
There's going to be a knockout of that game.
Oh, God. Adelaide Oval. Another hard one to tip.
I take it you mean you're going.
It's your two
Giants
favourite
then,
teams.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even need to answer that one.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It is. Your two favourite teams.
My
battling.
two favourite teams battling. And I have to go Port on this one because it's the tipster's choice.
What do you reckon?
Last one's hard too.
Bulldogs
Dogs.
play well over here.
Dogs.
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah.
Okay. Run through yours.
All right, I'll go Collingwood, but I'll go by 40. I think they're really going to touch him up. And then I'll go Geelong at GmbH. I don't trust Melbourne.
Melbourne. There's a reason why they have the same tipping percentage as West Coast this round.
Do we know, is Max Gawn feeling better this week? Do we know his headspace?
We best wait till after the game so Simon Goodwin can blame.
Can announce it all. Yeah,
Yeah, but if I know beforehand, I can tip better.
He'll blame him anyway, I reckon. So
yeah, shit bloke. How are your hemorrhoids? No, I'm joking. So I'm going to go the Crows. I'm going to go Brisbane. Do you know what? I'm going to go north. I reckon you're right. Definitely Giants. I think the score's going to be giant.
Big margin.
I'm actually worried when the Crows come up against West Coast later in the year because that could be...
It'll all come undone.
That could be catastrophic.
Yeah.
But we'll wait till we get there.
Don't worry. You'll be fine.
It means catastrophic for us.
Yeah.
190-point drubbing.
Now, this next game, this is... Oh, dear.
It's hard, hey?
I'm going to go based purely off form, and I'm going to go the Saints. I think their structure and system is going to be enough.
I can't disagree with your opinion there now because fuck, they both suck. So.
But 2026, horsepower. And this one, I'm going to go the Bullies.
Okay.
They play traditionally quite well over it here. Yeah.
I thought the opposite when I put my tip in. So I've got Collingwood by 26, Geelong, Gold Coast. Are you laughing when I put my tip in?
Yeah, it wasn't the plural.
Geelong, Gold Coast, Brisbane, Sydney, Giants, Port, Freo.
What was how many by
26 for Collingwood? Yeah.
It's either going to be
I think 5 goals is safe.
I just can't see Carlton
I think
stopping them.
4.2 goals is safe.
What if it's 3.8?
What if it is?
You're wrong then.
Why we want to
Still
fly
safe.
with?
Why can't we do it on goals and behinds? That would make
That
this
would actually be
tipping
good, wouldn't it?
way better.
Yeah.
Why we want a flight full of virgins? You didn't answer that before. Have you joined that cult again?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm all in.
Anything else, gents?
Full of Docker supporters.
No, cut it off now before he carries on going. Full of Dockers supporters.
They do
That
say
took a
purple
second.
is the colour of sexual frustration.
Yeah, well, mate, it's all frustration. 30 years of it. Yeah, I think that's
fucking brilliant.
I think we've hit the sweet spot of the night.
Yeah, I'm done.
Yeah, me too.
I could keep going, but I'll be.
Afraid of the mark. Follow us on all of the socials,
Yeah.
please.